Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now, and now joining us on the show is Chandan Taparia. A very good afternoon to you, Chandan. Thank you so much for joining us. And the first talk that we're going to talk about is Jubilant Foodworks. This one is actually seeing quite a lot of action in trade today, but do you think in the shorter term the action will continue?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. So we have seen very selective counter which are moving up and holding well for the day when market is turning up and down after being at the flattish zone. Here we have selected to be with Jubilant Food because the stock has given a consolidation breakout on the daily and the weekly chart. I think after the long consolidative move of 10-11 week, it is holding well above 500 zone. So because of that, some recovery could be seen. Technically, it has given a consolidation breakout and completing an inverse head and shoulder pattern which has bullish implications. So one can buy with support of 485. Jubilant Food has potential to move towards 525 to 530 levels.
Okay, keep an eye out on those levels for Jubilant Food. Let's move on to the next one that we're going to talk about, and that is Lakshmi Machine Works. The company reported its numbers. Not a good set of numbers reported by the company. Overall, a weakness that I've seen across in terms of the numbers. So whether you look at the revenue of the company, that's down by around 25%. Profits of the company seeing a decline of almost 30%, while the margins of the company have seen a 150 basis point contraction. So operationally also a weak number that has come in from Lakshmi Machine Works. That is why the stock is down and out in trade. Look at it, as of now also seeing a decline of 3.16%. Overall, even the EBITDA saw a decline of 38%. So clear weakness in the numbers of Lakshmi Machine Works, and that is why the stock is down 3 to 4% in trade.
Alright, let's move on and let's talk about PB Fintech then. If you have glued to the screen early morning when the markets actually opened, you would have seen a slew of block deals take place, and one of the block deals was of PB Fintech as well. About 1.2% equity actually changed hands via block deal, and the stock is actually hit its lowest level since May 13th on back of that particular block deal. It's in fact fallen for a second consecutive session as well. You had reports indicating that Tencent Cloud Europe is the one that may have likely sold the stake in the company, but we are yet to get the actual names of the buyers and the sellers in this particular block deal. But the stock is down and now 3.5%, or excess of 3.5% at day's low as we speak.
Let's move on then to stock number 19, and Ankita, it is AstraZeneca Pharma. How are the numbers for this one, and what is the stock doing?
Well, yes, AstraZeneca Pharma India has reported its Q4 numbers, and in fact, in the morning's trading session, it was trading with gains of over 1.5%, has cooled off from those gains. But let's look at the numbers then. You know, we did see a profit uptick of 128% on a year-on-year basis, and the revenue was also up 34% on a year-on-year basis at 383 crores versus 285 crores. The EBITDA also came in at 83 crores, which is an uptick of 39% on a year-on-year basis, and the margins also improved by 76 basis points at 21.8% versus 21%. Now, the board has also recommended a dividend of 24 rupees per equity share. Now, if you look at the management, Sanjeev Panchal, who's the country president and managing director, what he had to say, he said that FY 23-24 was one of the strongest years for the company in the country, and they take immense pride in their constant performance. AstraZeneca India product sales for the first time crossed the 1,000 crore rupee mark, delivering the total revenue of almost 1,300 crore rupees with growth of 29% this year. So that's the word coming in from management. We did see, like I mentioned, the stock was trading with gains of over 1.5%, but currently it has cooled off those gains and is trading absolutely flat right now.
Alright, let's move on then. Chandan, let's talk about Divi's Laboratories, and how is this one looking on the charts to you among the top gainers on the Nifty today?
So like Divi's Lab is holding well. Technically, it has given a breakout and making high tops, high bottom from last 5-6 trading session. We have seen a sharp surge in trading volume, which also indicates the momentum could continue. So overall, 40 to 50 is the support, and I'm expecting this run up to continue to us 4550 to 4600 level in Divi's Laboratory.
Keep an eye out over there for Divi's Lab. That's one that has been in action for a while. Let's move on and talk about TARC then, Snehi. I believe they reported a bad set of numbers. What is it that came in terms of the internals for the number? On bad set of numbers, rather poor set coming in for TARC for quarter 4. Revenue has come in at 9 crore rupees, just 9 crore versus 135 crore rupees, which is down a solid 93% on a year-on-year basis. This time they've clocked in a loss of 52 crore rupees versus a profit of 2 crore rupees this time last year. So that's also happened on a year-on-year basis. EBITDA has come in at in fact, EBITDA has also come in negative versus it's an EBITDA loss of 4 crore rupees versus an EBITDA of 38 crore rupees last year. And they've also reappointed Mr. Anil Sarin as chairman of the company with effect from today. But well, overall a very poor set of numbers coming in, big drop in revenue, and also they've logged in a loss this time. So on the back of that, the stock is down 2.5% as we speak.
Alright, so that is all about TARC, but let's move on and let's talk about Oberoi Realty then. Chandan, how is this one looking on the charts to you? We've seen the realty index as a whole be under pressure of late, but Oberoi Realty has had a good run in the last 6 months, or at least even for the last 1 month or so.
Yeah, so Nifty Realty is down by around 1.5% today, but Oberoi Realty is holding well. Major trend of the counter is positive. It has been making higher top, high bottom, holding the support. We have seen some positive rollover activity. Longs are being built as we are in the last week of the month. So overall, one can continue to hold the long position. 1780 or 1785 is the support. Upside we are looking for 1900 to 1920.
Okay, keeping an eye out on 1900 to 1920 there. Let's move on, talk about the next stock, and that is Goodyear. This one also is in focus on the back of its numbers. A weak set of numbers reported by this tire maker. And when you look at it overall for the numbers, the fourth quarter, the company saw overall in terms of what they reported was a loss that they came in terms of the company's loss in terms of the sales. So the sales actually saw, because of the demand falling, the sales were declining, and because of that we've seen a drop in terms of the revenue of the company. Other than that, even the company reported a net loss of 4.21 crores for March ended quarter versus a profit last year of 33 crores. So yes, clearly, you know, we have seen a miss coming in from the numbers, a decline in terms of the demand trends, and revenue impacted as well as the profitability impacted by the company. Because of that demand trend, we're seeing a decline in the stock price.
Alright, let's talk about Inox Wind then today, because that one also is down and out in trade today. It saw a huge block deal take place, and post that the stock has seen a big knock of about, actually locked in the low circle about 10% or so. This is more since February 13th that the stock has actually seen that sort of a drop. It was a 5.5% equity that changed hand via block deal earlier on in trade today. It's the second day of loss coming in for Inox Wind. The founder entity was the one who said to be likely the seller in this particular block deal, and post the fact that the news is that the founder may have sold some stake in the company. The stock is under pressure. We're yet to get the names of the buyers and the sellers in this block deal.
Okay, let's move on and talk about Glenmark Pharma on the technicals. Chandan, this one has been buzzing away in trade, 52-week high levels yesterday, today, as well as what it managed to touch. What is the outlook now for Glenmark Pharma? Do you expect this run up to continue for some time?
Yeah, I believe this momentum could continue, and the strong part is selective pharma stocks are holding the gain, especially when your India VIX is moving upwards. Overall, it is holding well above this 50-day exponential moving average from last 67 trading session. We have seen a sharp spurt in last 2 days, and I believe the higher base is shifting higher. So 1110 is the support, and overall we are looking for a move towards 1200, 1210.
That's a take coming in on Glenmark, but on that note, we slip into a break on this edition of Market Fatafat. When we come back, more stocks to discuss. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now. Let's keep it going with all the stocks that have been buzzing and moving in trade. Ankita, the next one that you picked out for us is Sumitomo Chemicals. How are the numbers for this one?
Well, yes, Sumitomo Chemicals, let's look at the numbers first. As far as the net profit is concerned, it's seeing an uptick of almost 100% on a quarter-on-quarter basis, up 100 10 crores was 55 crores in the previous quarter. Also, the revenues have improved to 24% on a quarter-on-quarter basis at 674 crores versus 542 crores. And also, the EBITDA saw a jump of a good 112% on a quarter-on-quarter basis at 140 crores, and the margins also improved to 864 crores on a sequential basis at 20.8% versus 12.1%. Now, they have also declared a dividend of 0.9 rupees per equity share, and we can see the strong results and the effect coming on the stock as well. The stock is trading with gains of more than 2.5% right now.
All right, so that's Sumitomo Chemicals for you. But Chandan, let's talk about Marico. Yeah, yes, we've seen a good momentum coming in. All of these FMCG players, Marico also no less for that. Where do you see the stock headed from here on?
So we have seen a run-up of around 19-20% in this series, and it is trading higher than its volume weightage average. Because of that, we believe some short covering could trigger. Technically, it is completing a pole and flake pattern which has bullish implications. So positive momentum could continue towards the end of month. One can buy with support of 690. Overall, we are expecting a run-up to our 640 zone.
An eye out on Marico over there and the levels, but let's move on, talk about Marksans Pharma then. And Snehi, why have you picked out this one for us today? What's the news flow?
Very surprisingly, it's not earnings, but a wholly owned subsidiary, Relonchem Limited, has received marketing authorization for the product Levetiracetam Relonchem, 100 milligrams or 100 ml oral solution from the UK MHRA. Now, this product is a medicine to treat epilepsy. So, the product will be manufactured at the group's UK manufacturing facility, and the company has received a nod from the UK MHRA for marketing this product. So, on the back of this positive news flow, the stock is doing pretty well, up 1.5% as we speak.
Move on, then let's talk about Vedanta, and this one is actually buzzing in trade today. If you see, the wire agencies actually put out a story yesterday post-market hours that the company is considering raising as much as $1 billion via share sale, and they are in talks with bankers for that particular share sale as well. But the stock right now, as we speak, has actually given up all of its gains. At one point in time, it was trading higher by about 2.7%. It was the most since May 22nd. And the reports also indicated that the deal may take place in the coming weeks. But the stock right now has given up all of its gains.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, and that is Deepak Nitrite. Chandan, Deepak Nitrite on the charts and technicals, what is it that it's looking like now? What should one expect from Deepak Nitrite? Because last 6 months not done anything. So could we expect some bit of an up move, and the target that you're keeping there?
The stock has a weak structure, and I believe some more profit booking could be seen in the stock. Recently, it failed to surpass 2560 zone, and after that, slow and steady it is drifting lower. We have seen a negative price pattern on the weekly and the daily chart. So here weakness could continue until it remains below 2320 zone. We are expecting it to go down to 2200 level. So further 3 to 5% kind of corrective move could be there in Deepak Nitrite.
Keeping an eye out on Deepak Nitrite, maybe we could watch out for some bit of a corrective move there. Let's move on and talk about Timken India. Why is that in focus today, and why is that buzzing in trade? It's holding on to gains of as much as 5% as we speak today, and this is also because of a block deal that we have. Now, what we understand that in the morning there was a large block deal that happened for Timken India. The shares rose as much as 7 to 8% intraday. Now, what we understand is that Timken Singapore is a likely seller of this. It's around a 6.6% stake sale that is expected in terms of a block deal that is expected from Timken India, and that is the equity change of hands that we've seen. So the likely seller is going to be Timken Singapore that we're keeping an eye out on. And let's not forget, as of March 2024, Timken Singapore, who's a promoter, owned around 57.7% stake or around 4.3 crore shares in the company. So yes, on the back of that, we're keeping an eye out on Timken India. Let's see who the buyers are then.
Absolutely, a lot of stocks actually to pre-book for tomorrow, looks like it. Even the fact that we had a slew of block deals take place. But let's take a note of the IMD commentary coming in on monsoon as well as on the heat wave persisting across the nation. They're saying that the conditions are favor monsoon onset over Kerala in the next 3 to 4 days. Let's not forget the parts of Kerala has already received a lot of rainfall over the last few hours or so, and there are roads and all that have actually submerged in Kochi area as well, Vinny. That's what the news reports are indicating. But for the onset of monsoon, the conditions favor for the monsoon onset in over Kerala in the next 3 to 4 days. But the severe heat wave in northwest to reduce gradually from Thursday onwards, and severe heat wave in central India also to gradually reduce from Thursday onwards. So some sigh of relief hopefully coming in for the people who are in the northwest as well as central India region. I was reading reports that in certain parts of Rajasthan, Vinny, you have the temperature that's gone up to at least 49.5 degrees Celsius. It's unheard of, and I can't even think about being in the region right now.
No, not at all. It's giving me hot flashes, heat flashes, whatever you want to say. But so you can see this climate change really creeping up onto us as well right
Absolutely.
now. One side such high temperatures, other side you're seeing cyclones coming in the country. But yes, warnings coming in from IMD on both the sides as well.
Absolutely. So IMD is making sure that we are updated on both the front. But let's talk about Concord Biotech then. And that particular counter also is in focus on back of its a block deal that's taken place today. 3.4% of equity changed hands via block deal, and the stock has actually fallen most since May 11th. At one point in time, it has fallen about 6% or so. Now the stock has seen some sort of a recovery actually creep in as we speak. It's actually fallen for a fourth consecutive session as well. No doubt the buyers and the sellers are not known as of now, but a particular shareholder is set to have sold the shares in Concord Biotech, but we wait for the names of the buyers and the sellers.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on all those names of those buyers and sellers of the block deals that we've seen, a slew of block deals like Cheryl was also mentioning that we've seen. But let's move on and talk about Tata Communication then, and on the technicals for Tata Communication. What is it that you're seeing actually shaping up for Tata Communication in terms of the chart now? And where should one see it moving from here on in terms of a price? Currently trading at around 1,793. What is it that you're keeping an eye out on?
In the last 2-3 weeks, we have seen recovery in the counter from 1707 to all the way to 1845. But it has negated its higher highs, higher lows on the daily and weekly scale and started to form a bearish pattern. It fell to hold above 50 MA and turning lower. So expecting some profit booking decline, which can take it to us 1700. One can keep the negative or bearish position in the counter with hurdle of 1825. Stock can correct by further 3 to 5%.
You, Ankita, Natco Pharma, this one will focus on back of earnings.
Focus on the back of its earnings. In fact, the quarter 4 profit grew 40% and the full year net nearly doubled. Now let's look at the revenues. Revenues saw an uptick of 19% on a year-on-year basis at 1,068 crores. The EBITDA also saw a surge of 46% on a year-on-year basis at 497 crores, and the margins also improved 878 basis points at 46.6% on a year-on-year basis. Now, on the domestic business front, the company has taken a one-time charge of approximately 90 crore rupees, which is reflected in the revenue and profitability numbers. And on the crop health sciences business, due to poor crop season, the stock returns amounted to 25 crores, more than what was being expected, and the provisions on asset of the CHS division amounted to about 30 crores for Natco Pharma. And on the back of that, we do see an uptick of 0.8% coming in on Natco Pharma.
Okay, let's move on to the next stock that we're talking about, and that is United Spirits. Snehi, why have you picked out this one for us today?
Well, Vinny, this is on the back of the management con call that took place yesterday for this stock, and they've guided for low double-digit revenue growth going ahead. When it comes to the premium and above prestige and above segment, which is the P&A segment, they've targeted revenue growth rate of 13 to 14% and volume growth of 4 to 5%. They're witnessing demand pressure at the lower end of product category, but they're also targeting moderate margin expansion every year going ahead. Premiumization trend is intact across the industry is what they believe. but they're working on expanding the gross margins through premiumization, productivity as well as price increases. Now the ENA price trend will continue to remain inflationary, but the glass price trend looks like it will remain deflationary going ahead, and they're saying that high competition in the mid and upper prestige segment is visible, but it is also good for the segment to grow. So that's largely all the highlights coming in from the United Spirits con call yesterday, and on the back of the guidance that they've given, the stock is up 2.3% as we speak.
Okay, and that was the last talk for today. Thank you so much, Chandan, for joining in with us, as well as Snehi and Ankita for joining in with us on the show and Osho. But with that, we are out of time with this edition of Market Fatafat. So it's a goodbye from Cheryl, myself, as well as the team who put this show together.